What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Season 3, Episode 42 of Hit the Books. Just me and Ace today. No Mackie, no Jesse. Just the two of us here this week, bringing it to you for the Stanley Cup, NBA Finals. Obviously, we're in the midst of a great MLB season right now. A lot of good games going on every day in the MLB. So a couple things to get into there. We're going to start with a couple things in the NFL, but Ace, I'll introduce you first, just us two this week. What's going on?
Yeah, ready to get going here. Missing half the crew this week. Hate to see it, but Huff and I will hold it down. If you caught us on Sunday, you saw us on the live stream too, so definitely check us out there. Love having those rolling. And like Huff said it, the Celtics are cruising. The Panthers are cruising in the finals, so the favorites are going a long way. Hoping the Celtics can get this done. MLB season mid form right now. We're almost to the All-Star break. People are coming off the IL too. A lot of guys
70 games in.
we talk about people landing on the injured list a lot, but you want to know what I realized today as I was combing through the fantasy archives for the day baseball we had. I was like, a lot of guys are coming off the IL soon too. Clayton Kershaw, a bunch of pitchers around the league. I was looking at Silseth today.
Garrett Cole's due back any time now.
Yeah, everybody's retooling here, so we're gonna get a true lay of the land come All-Star break, trade deadline time. So excited to get into that, but really want to talk about these championship series first. And we got some football on the slate this week, getting back into it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll start there. The EA Madden for what is it, 25?
Yeah, Madden 25, which is
That's
weird
that's-
because they
already had Madden
that,
25. That's why I wanted to make sure that they were calling it that, because they already had Madden 25, but Madden 2025
with a hype. It's got the apostrophe though, the 25.
Yeah,
It's not Madden 25.
believe me, when you look at it on like Walmart or GameStop's website, it'll have that little thing there because that makes it different.
Yeah, that's
But
the only thing.
Christian McCaffrey named the cover athlete for Madden this year. I think a lot of people saw that coming, at least as one of the favorites to do it. I mean, we can kind of name a couple people that we thought we would have been up there. I think the obvious one is Justin Jefferson. I think the unknown was if he was going to be there, was he going to be with the Vikings next year? I think that's a little bit of you just wait. Now he'll be it next year because he's locked up on the contract. That would have been a bad look if he was wearing a Vikings jersey on the cover and then got traded to the Chargers or whatever.
That would have been a tough scene. I was thinking maybe CJ Stroud, but they probably didn't want to jump the gun on the hype 1 year in. I wouldn't have been surprised though if anybody were to do it. It'd be Madden.
If he can do it for another year, he could be in the contention for next year because they love quarterbacks. We've got the Josh Allen one, correct?
Yeah, I think we have him jumping over. Yeah, I think that was like one of the most recent ones was Josh Allen. He's already gotten it. And they love the swagger that CJ Stroud has too. I think that's the thing. And now they're on the super team. I think if he does it this year, he'd be in serious talks. Him and Jefferson, like you said, that's who came to my mind too. But I mean, who else could they have?
Tyreek Hill, maybe.
Tyreek Hill, yeah, he's got allegation against him, so they're probably staying away from that.
But like that's what I think they stayed away from Jefferson for, was the contract talks.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then I think someone else, maybe Brock Purdy, the world would go crazy.
When are we gonna get the Joe Burrow one?
Yeah.
That's coming.
Yeah, everybody thought it was last year. The injuries now, though, he's got to prove it again, I guess. He's on to prove it.
Yeah.
He's not in my top 5 anymore, I'll tell you that.
No. He has to have a big year this year.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we're getting into our top 5s here shortly. But I do want to give one more congratulations to Christian McCaffrey. Big fan of CMC. Had him on the card all year long. Hit those anytime touchdowns left and right. 2+ anytime touchdowns. Hit those 2. Niners to win, CMC to score, the streak, everything. We talked about it last week. Well deserved. Hopefully it's a picture of him hurdling someone Did
you see the picture? I said it in the group chat earlier.
Is that the official one, though?
Yeah, I think that's the regular version. Then if you swipe, there's the deluxe version or whatever, like the Madden edition.
I didn't know if they released the person then the cover, but it's at the same time. Let me take a look at it.
Yeah, that is.
Oh yeah,
that
flexing in the end zone. You want to know why? Because he scores every time. So wait, which one?
What's the deluxe version?
Let me see the original here of him.
That's
flexing. Oh, my cat's going crazy. And
what's the other one say?
This is him running downhill, the deluxe edition.
That's the deluxe edition. All right, yeah, the regular one's way cooler.
Yeah, that's him flexing after a touchdown. They had so many to choose from. I wouldn't have minded seeing him hurdle someone, but he just scores all the time. I guess that's what he's known for now.
Yeah.
That'll be fun, though. I'll get that game going.
Yeah, like you said, we're going to get into some top 5s that we have in the NFL to get us through this offseason. I think we did the same thing last year. Started out with top 5 current head coaches in the NFL. I'll start us out here. I did make my list today whenever I saw this.
Mm-hmm.
At number 5, I feel like I'm forgetting something, but at number 5, I didn't know who to throw in here. So I have John Harbaugh, the Ravens coach, and Matt LaFleur of the Packers. I've always been a fan of his, so I threw him in there. Number 4, I don't know if you'll agree with this one, Dan Campbell. I did give him the nod and threw him in the top 5. Just the impact that he's had on that team, the turnaround has been absolutely insane. And now that you don't have guys like Belichick, you don't have guys like Vrabel, like there's a lot of new head coaches in the NFL. I figured he warrants, I don't know if he's above those guys. It was just how I made the list. Really, I could shuffle any of those 3 around in the last 2 or 4 through 6 spots. Number 3, I got my guy Mike T. Number 2, Coach Kyle Shanahan out there in San Francisco, and then number 1, the obvious pick left over is Andy Reid.
You left me speechless with only one of your picks, and it's you, of all people, putting Shanahan at 2. But let me talk about the rest of your list for a second. I called my brother.
Shanahan's better at clock management.
He's going to be no. He is. I agree with you. I'm the biggest Shanahan fan there is. I've loved him since he was in Atlanta. But
do you think the Dan Campbell thing in the top 5 is crazy?
No, it's as soon as we had top 5 on the podcast, we set this up with Jesse going this week. I called my brother. I was like, hey, we're doing that. We were just talking like we always do. And I was like, oh, we're doing that top 5 again. He's like, oh, what are you starting with, quarterbacks? He's like, no, I want to start with coaches because it's far away from the offseason. People don't care about the coaches come regular season. Like, they care about them now.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, we'll talk about it. He's like, who do you got? I was like, yeah, no Belichick, no Vrabel. They were around the top 5 or in it last year.
I swear to God, both of those guys were in all of our top 5s last year.
We threw together a list. We were just throwing names out there. We literally went through every team in the NFL, not one by one, but after everything. He just started naming names. I'm like, all right, if we don't even know his full name, then you can't put him even near your list. Like, what are we?
If you don't even know who the coach is, like if you don't know who,
he's like, who's the coach of the Texans? D'Amico Ryan. I'm like, yeah, he's really good. Like, he could be in consideration, but. No, but one thing
I think he's right outside. I think he's right now like 7 or 8. Like he's outside that top 5.
We both had outside of our top 5 was definitely Dan Campbell. Not in the conversation yet. Also, like D'Amico Ryans, I called it that I said Huff's gonna have Dan Campbell in the top 5, and I'm like, he had a good year, but we got to see him do it again.
He's done it.
He's one of the most exciting coaches. But I honestly, when you had Campbell at 4 and then Tomlin at 3, I thought there was no shot you were going to have Shanahan in your list at all. And then I already had my response ready. I was going to say you have Dan Campbell over Kyle Shanahan, but you don't. So one thing that played a big talk when we were going through it, a lot of things you thought of too. I love the list you have, by the way. We were talking about rings being important because who's the best coach overall, or who's the best coach going into the season with this new group. So we'll kind of get into it. I'll give you some honorary mentions right here. I never went through my actual top 5 of them. It's probably easier.
What do you think of the Matt LaFleur pick? Is he anywhere near your top 8?
Yeah, he's in that top 8. He's in the top 8 for sure. That's about 8 names I'm going to say. The names we rattled off for these spots, I'll give you the 8, and then I'll give you my top 5. It was like Pete Carroll, Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, John Harbaugh, who's the guy? Nick Sirianni. And
I don't know if he's
Doug Peterson. Yeah. I mean, Nick Sirianni, very polarizing guy. I wouldn't mind him as my head coach. Like if he was my team's head coach, I'd love him. But everybody else hates him. Love that confidence he exudes. And
I think he's like right outside 10.
Yeah, and he's right there in that Dan Campbell mix. I mean, they're doing the same thing. LaFleur as well. Mike McDaniel. It's another one we were talking about, but he can't play in the cold weather like his team, so I got to leave him outside of my list. There's actually a lot of good coaches in the league. Sean Payton, going to kick him out. Pete Carroll, I kicked him out too. I think it's easier for me to go 1 to 5. I hate doing that. Normally, we always go 5 to 1. But just to go with my list right here live on the pod, I'm going to go Andy Reid at 1. I feel like that's an automatic lock. I'm going to give your boy Mike Tomlin the nod at 2. I know they haven't been great the last few years, been really stuttering on quarterbacks since Ben was good, which was a long time ago, over a decade ago. But he's always relevant. They're always in playoff contention. And who has more Super Bowls in the league that's currently coaching right now? Not many. I value that very highly. And he's been doing it forever with the same team. Love to see that. Have him at 2. I didn't give you an Andy Reid explanation.
3-year extension. Did you see that for Tomlin?
Yeah, and the post they had of him saying, been here in the same spot, same guy, just less hair. Like, that's pretty cool. So, I mean, you can't beat that. Storied franchise, too. So those are my top 2. Andy Reid, no explanation needed. At number 3, I'm going to go with John Harbaugh. He has the rings, right? So he has the ring with Joe Flacco. And the fact that he was able to transition from Joe Flacco, who was elite, but he was actually really good, into Lamar Jackson, he was able to stay through generations of the game changing, unlike many old coaches. That's one thing people like to critique Bill on. And Harbaugh did it successfully while always maintaining a stellar defense, even after losing Hall of Fame pieces, which is crazy how good they stayed the whole time. Really hit the jackpot on Lamar Jackson, too. But Remember that time when Joe Flacco and Lamar were on the team? Not many people knew what to do. They were talking about Harbaugh being kicked from the team
They were
potentially.
they were talking about Lamar Jackson being a wide receiver.
Yeah, and he successfully did the transition, which is a very hard thing to do from Flacco to Lamar Jackson. So I got him at 3, especially with the ring. And I think he has a couple, 2 or 3 appearances as well. At number 4, I'm gonna go Shanahan just because I think he's the best coach in the game, like with the current day schemes that he draws up.
I
And
was gonna say he's the true guy. Like when I think of like scheme and everything, that's exactly what I think of.
yeah, and he does it, and it's shown on both sides of the ball. He did it as an assistant, as a coordinator, and he did it as a head coach too. And he's continuously good. He brings in talent too, drafts good talent. Brock Purdy, he turned him great, and he was an elite pick. So he's going to be in the mix for the years to come. And I think he's at 4, and he can only get higher if he gets a ring at some point. And at number 5 on my list, this is going to be a tough call here. I'm gonna say Lafleur. I think he's on the rise. I'm gonna take my shot in the dark pick here. I'm gonna go with Lafleur at 5. I think that Packers team can only get better. He did a good job with Aaron Rodgers, and now he's got Jordan Love falling right into the lap. Everybody questioned why they drafted him, and he's built that team around him. A lot of young pieces on both sides of the ball. I think they're going to be in contention for years to come. He's the best quarterback in my division with Jordan Love, best coach with Matt Lafleur. So I don't know. There's a very high ceiling for this team. But a lot of good names left off the list, like some of the ones we mentioned earlier. But I think we both had solid ones.
Yeah, I think it'd be easier to make a top 10 head coaches list because then you can like truly, you know what I mean?
It's
Kind of like
crazy to me you didn't have Tomlin at 2.
it's like yeah, Mister Consistent, Mister Winning season, but it's
2
like you
Super
said,
Bowls.
we haven't won a playoff game, and he only has one.
He only has 1. How many appearances does he have though?
Two appearances, he's 1-1. He
All
lost
right.
Aaron Rodgers, beat the Cardinals.
Yeah. So I mean that's still pretty big. The rest of the league, who else has more than 1 Super Bowl currently coaching as a head coach? Um, I don't know if
Andy
there's
Reid,
any.
yeah, I don't other than Andy Reid, I don't know if
Doug
there's any.
Peterson, I left him out of my list. Him and Pete Carroll, Sean Payton, those are guys with a ring that are still floating out there, but they haven't really adapted too well. Maybe Doug Peterson's the best
Yeah,
out of them.
Pete Carroll's like in the front office for the Seahawks now.
Yeah, that's so he's not even a head coach. I guess you're right.
But yeah, that's a solid list. We'll move into the positions as we start next week, and we get Mackie and Jesse back as well, so we'll have more debate in there. We'll start out in the NBA, where the Boston Celtics have secured a 2-0 series lead in the NBA Finals over the Dallas Mavericks, as the series now shifts back to Dallas for Game 3, which is actually tonight. By the time you're listening to this, Game 3 will be over. But how are we feeling? You're the Celtics correspondent. How are we feeling heading into Game 3 in Dallas tonight?
I'm feeling good about it. And one thing that you like to bring up to me, people are worried about Porzingis now after the injuries sustained. We really don't know the truth on it. They're really good at keeping NBA injuries under wraps until tip off. In my opinion, you questionable. Remember Luka Doncic before Game 2? He was questionable. He was definitely playing. But the stat you're saying they're what 12-2 in the playoffs without Porzingis. Not too worried about it. Hyped to see the Celtics at a plus number. Huff. I have that on the card. I haven't sent it in officially yet. But I'm taking that. I mean, when do you see them at plus? You got to take it. I think at minimum they split here in Dallas. I have them in the gentleman's sweep, but they've been outplaying this team heavily. They're unstoppable on offense. The role players are doing their thing. It's crazy when you have role players like Drew Holiday, Porzingis, Derek White, Al Horford. Those are like former All-Stars or country representatives in the Olympics. They're top players in the league. And they're playing second fiddle to the 2 Jays. And I know Tatum hasn't looked great to start, but I would take Jason Tatum in my corner almost any time. I think he's still one of the top players in the league on both sides of the floor. He's got the size. He's got all the tools. It's who cares as long as you're winning basketball games. I think we're both on that same page. But some people like the numbers too much. Jaylen Brown's still playing great basketball too. Kyrie shut down. Luka can't guard anybody, and that depth of the Mavericks is nowhere to be found compared to the Celtics. So maybe home court. The series doesn't start until it goes to you lose on home court. You say that all the time, and I think that's true though. So important game here tonight, pivotal for the Mavericks. If they lose this game, their season's over. If they win this game, then who knows? I mean, the story is unwritten. But that's my initial takes. We'll dive into it deep more. But give me your initial take on the series.
Yeah, again, also said Celtics in 5 here. I think it is you can get them at plus 125. I see on MGM right now for the Celtics tonight. I'm on the over. I did take that over. I just think this is going to be a little bit more of a back and forth game, closer style than we saw, especially in Game 1. I look for obviously. I think Kyrie will at least kind of respond better back in Dallas on their home floor. I expect the Celtics definitely to give it their all. Like you said, I think this is going to be a split. I don't know which game is going to be the one. I could see Dallas handle things tonight. I don't know why. Just kind of, like I said, doesn't start till
because
a
of
road team
Porzingis
wins.
too.
It's also, yeah, I feel like that narrative is going to play into it a little bit. Horford eating up a little bit more minutes, but that team is so deep. That's not their only, that's not like the biggest thing to have to
Yeah,
worry about is him having to eat up more minutes. I like the over in this game. I think I got it at 213.5. Maybe let me check. I think I bought it down at 212. I did buy it down to 212.5. So I bought the half point
I
or
like
half
that.
or whatever full point. But I think it's gonna be a higher scoring game. I think Celtics still win in five. I'm gonna stand by that pick, and I think for good reason. Like I just think we haven't seen the best of the Celtics team yet, and they're up 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, so let's talk about what we've seen so far. It's crazy to see how good Porzingis played. We talked about him last week. Remember, we didn't know what to expect. I was very confident in him. I thought they did the right thing by holding him out. Now he's injured again. But when he was playing, that's an injury play. It wasn't like he re-injured his original injury. Like he
It's
fell.
so him to get something that they've never heard of, though.
Yeah, right. Out of all people, lanky, like just trips over someone on a rebound attempt too. Like you hate to see it. But that first game, he took over in the first quarter and he didn't miss a beat. So you got to give kudos to the Celtics coaching staff because remember we thought he could be cold. No, he was heat right away, and he was the best player on the floor that night. His defensive play too. The Celtics having more blocks in game one than the Mavericks had assists. The Mavericks can't defend at all. They have good scores, but the Celtics do they have the best defense in the NBA?
I mean, you could argue that Drew Holiday, Derek White, like
Tatum and Brown are no
Porzingis when he's in
slouches
there.
either because they
I
can
was going to
cover
say
anybody.
Tatum and Brown are no, but yeah, exactly.
So it's
I mean, you definitely can make the case for that. Denver, maybe like that's
yeah,
the only other
they're,
team I can
they're
really think of.
yeah, so they're at least
Minnesota,
a top. I don't need to say the best because they probably aren't, but one of the top defenses in the
they're
NBA.
the best. They're definitely the best defense in the East, and they're probably top three in the league.
Yeah, and then it doesn't even match how good they are.
Minnesota and Denver, the only two teams that even compare to their defense.
The crazy thing too is they're even better on offense than they are on defense. And guys like
Yeah.
Drew, you see the buckets Holiday and White are getting. They're just hustle buckets because who's covering them? Somebody that can't. Tatum and Brown taking all the attention. That's one thing I'd like to say. Here's 2 points for my Jason Tatum propaganda. Mackey's not here to defend it anyways, but this would be good ammo to add to the machine. Kristaps Porzingis, if he's out of the game, even are you as worried as? Is there anybody else that worries you more if it was Tatum out of the game?
Is there anybody else that would worry me?
Yeah, that would be out of the lineup. Tatum's the most important piece to have in the lineup, I think.
Yeah, I think. I mean, in game one, he did it with the rebounds. He got a 16, 11, and 5.
Yeah.
He did have the turnovers. He did have the turnovers again last game. He needs to cut that out.
Mhm.
But I mean, at this point, I just think if you do have a game without Jaylen Brown, I think you're going to get the Jason Tatum that everyone's waiting on. You're going to get the
Yeah.
what,
He's
the
just
one that showed up in
facilitating
game
and winning.
2 of the Eastern Conference Finals and put up a 36 point
Yeah.
36 point win. A 4-point win.
Yeah, he's a great player waiting to snap off. You think that game's coming too. That's one thing that would worry me as a Mavericks fan is that game is coming too. Like Tatum's not going to stay quiet the whole series. We know historically he's rising up the charts too with all those playoff stats he's accumulated in his young career. But you got to think on the other side of the ball, the Mavericks. Luka's got to be on fire tonight. I'm going to think going home down 2-0, hearing a lot of the hate and saying the series is over and whatnot. Out of all players, he's going to step up into the moment. I don't know if Kyrie can get it going against these Celtics. You talked about him having to, honestly, for them to win, and I don't think he can. I don't think he can. Do you?
I think his only chances in games 3 or 4. Like
he hasn't had any success at all in the series.
I think there's a 10 times better chance that the Celtics sweep this series than Dallas gets this to 6 games.
I agree with you.
Like I truly think that this series is that much cooked.
And how much is any game on the? How much is every game on the back of Luka Doncic though?
It is, and he looks like I heard someone on McAfee today make the comparison that Luka Doncic looks like 2021 Ben Roethlisberger showing up to every game with the fucking bandages around his chest and
too young to be doing that too.
Like, dude, he's 25 years old. He looks like he's 40 out there. Like, he looks like he was in a car accident. They said he took a fucking injection in his chest 2 days ago because he was in so much pain and he didn't think he was going to be able to play.
Yeah, it's like Kobe at the end of his career. Remember when he would always have that ice all around him? But
yeah.
But the thing is, if you watch Luka Doncic, it makes sense, though. Look at how many minutes he plays
He
night in
plays
and
so
night out.
aggressive.
He's involved in everything. He's physical, and he's been playing this way in competitive men's league, not some youth or college leagues in other countries and whatnot. So I mean, he's already gotten beaten up. He's been to championships. He's won them, but he's going to have to go off here. I think there was some certain bench players for the Mavericks kind of stepped up last game and gave them a spark, but not enough. The guys they brought in from Charlotte not really doing too much. That young guy you were talking about, Lively from the last series, hasn't shown anything. He can't guard any of these Celtics.
No.
Too many fouls.
I don't know why. I don't know why they stopped playing Gafford so much. They were so hyped to get Kleber back.
He had a good run last game. Gafford, he was carrying him a little bit.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They're letting Kleber eat up minutes from him, and Gafford's been the reason they got to where they are.
Are they too small without him? No, the Celtics are a big team.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the thing. Lively, yeah.
Gafford he looks huge. He's a center. I think he's probably 6'10", 6'11".
Yeah, Porzingis though.
Maybe he might just be too slow to guard Porzingis.
Yeah, Porzingis is a tough matchup, but we'll see. It'll be an interesting one tonight. Pivotal game. I've got the Celtics. I want to say I'm 4 now. I really do, but I'll stick with 5.
I'm sticking to 5. I just think tonight will be a high scoring game. That's all I'll say. I took the
Here's
over.
this. Book this. The Jason Tatum game is incoming right now. Jaylen Brown looking like the man. Before we get off the NBA topic here, though, you saw those MVP odds. They're shifting around big time. Everybody's sitting around the same for the Celtics there at the top. Who do you like to take home the MVP trophy? I still think it's Tatum.
I'm gonna stand with what I said before the series. I wish I would have done it and just taken Tatum and Brown to both win it, and because Brown's odds have dropped from plus 600 to plus 145. Yeah. Oh, damn, they're literally both plus 145 right now.
Yeah, they're tied.
You could just take them both right now and guarantee profit, right?
Yeah, you could. There's nobody else on the Celtics winning it, right? I know Drew Holiday's playing well, and his odds dropped drastically, but
there's no chance in hell unless Tatum and Brown both miss a game. Anyone else on this list is winning MVP on the Celtics.
Is that what we go do right now? We just go lock in those. It's not a bad idea, huh?
I seriously think that's free money.
If you put
$100 on each, you win
make $45 as long as nothing insane happens.
Yeah. As long as Drew Holiday doesn't have a 35-point game tonight.
Yeah. Back-to-back nights.
Or Porzingis comes back with like a triple-double with blocks and rebounds or some crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like.
Yep. Yeah, but it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy to see. I think that's automatic profit, Huff. I think we throw on that, and if you can catch it, I don't know how. If you can reverse time, go back and do it now.
Yeah, I wish I would have taken the plus 600, but I still think it's worth it at plus 145. But yeah, we'll move over into the NHL. Stanley Cup Finals are underway, where obviously Florida secured wins in Game 1 and 2 of the Cup Final on their home ice. They won Game 1 3-0 and Game 2 4-1. As the series now shifts back to Edmonton with Game 3 on Thursday. Which way do you see the series going? You were on Edmonton. Are you as confident as you were feeling before?
No shot, and it's for good reason. I mean, it's what I was saying the whole time. I thought
outscored 7-1.
Yeah, especially that first game too. I mean, that one slipped through the cracks, but Edmonton outplayed them, and it gave me some hope. But I'm gonna stick with my theory of it doesn't start till you lose on your home ice or your home court. So it's a pivotal Game 3 again, and I do have them winning Game 3. I don't know about you, but I do. I think
they'll win Game 3.
Yeah, I'm more Are you more confident in them than the Mavericks winning Game 3?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree too. And they haven't been score-wise. They've been getting beat pretty bad, but on the ice, they've actually been.
Edmonton is minus 135 tomorrow. I think they win tomorrow.
Yeah, they're competing. That crowd's going to be rowdy up there in Edmonton, but geez, these Florida Panthers. We said it on the live stream if you tuned in, but Sergei Bobrovsky is doing exactly what Mackey didn't say. He had him outside of his top list of players in the series. He's got
that take made me look. The past 2 games made my take look so good.
He looks like I said he was like I said fifth. I think I said fifth or sixth. And I think he's
minus
the third.
180 for the Conn Smythe.
Yeah, because he's the best player on the Panthers. That's the thing. There's so many good players up front. They're all doing the same amount. Barkov hurt now too, kind of. I mean, it's got to be him. No one's running away with point totals. It's a complete team effort up front. I know Evan Rodriguez is doing it, but he hasn't been doing it the whole run. Bob's been
minus 200 for Bob, but Connor McDavid's right behind him, plus 450. He's the second favorite.
Yeah, because they know on the Panthers there's nobody else. He has if you have a Stanley Cup shutout, consistent the whole time, and like I said, the scoring is so.
Then 4-1.
The scoring is spread out on the Panthers.
Yeah,
and especially doing it against Connor McDavid and Draisaitl. That's what's crazy to me. Is you know what I thought, Huff? Remember I gave you all these takes, and you guys thought that they were going to slap him around because even the Rangers couldn't get shots and they couldn't get him against the Stars and stuff. The
Yeah.
Oilers are doing what I thought. They're just not putting the puck in the back of the net.
They just can't get behind
Because
Bobrovsky.
Stuart Skinner's actually giving them a decent chance to win a hockey game. With Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, you should be winning those games. If anybody would like to blame this game on Skinner or the series so far, you're an idiot. I mean, he's giving them a chance to win, doing more than what's expected of him. But the guys up front have to get pucks in the back of the net.
Yeah, and to anyone that wants to blame Skinner in this spot, like, it's hard to win a hockey game when you have one goal over two games.
Yeah. That's brutal.
Like,
with the best two players in the
with
world.
35 shots in game one, they outshot them by, like, that was like the Dallas Edmonton game 6.
Yeah, except we thought it was going to be happening to Edmonton. They're in the series, but this Florida team just finds a way to win. That guy Paul Maurice, the bench
Do you think
boss.
Florida will win one in Edmonton at game 3 or 4?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'd be stupid to say not to, but I think that the Oilers win game 3, and if it's 2-1, it makes me feel like they can win. They can even it up a lot more than if they go down 3-0.
Yeah.
If they go down 3-0, I think they get swept. If they go up, make it 2-1, I think they tie it.
So you think it's either going to be 2-2 coming back to Florida or a sweep?
And these are both must-win games. If they lose either game, it's a death sentence going back down to South Florida.
Going back to
3-1.
Florida. That flight, and then you get down there and just literally get your shit stomped. It's going to be another 4-1 game.
Yeah, they're going to have to be rocking. We got to see them get to Bobrovsky. How are they going to do it? Are they going to take some runs at him? Are they going to...
Power play's been so bad.
That's crazy to me. I mean, let's not knock the Florida Panthers, though. They're such a sound team everywhere. They're good everywhere. They're good on the power play. They're good on the penalty kill. They're good in the net. They're good behind the bench. Their depth is good. Their depth is evident. Their acquisitions like Rodriguez and Tarasenko are showing up big time. The superstars they have are there. I mean, Draisaitl, was it he the one that gave the dirty hit to Barkov? Maybe they're going to have to get something going, kind of like the Canucks tried to do against the Bruins to extend that series back in 2011, a decade and a half ago. But yeah, it's they're getting their shit pumped in right now, and they gotta do something quick. In '97, I talked you up all the time, and you're the only one not showing up. You and the rest of the offense nowhere to be found.
I mean, he's shooting the puck left and right. He just can't get behind Bobrovsky.
Yeah, Bobrovsky's dialed in right now too, and
You said it was Swayman. The scariest thing in the playoffs is a hot goalie,
Yep.
and it looks like Bob's got right back to where he was last year when he led them to the cup, and then he cooled off in the cup final against Vegas.
Ooh.
That was a good. That Vegas team last year was like as dominant as this Florida team looks this year. People are just you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you want to?
They're
They
just
have a way
built
better
for the
goaltender
playoffs.
too. I think they're better than that team. This Panthers team this year is, I don't know, they're really good.
No, I agree. This Panthers team has more skill, but I'm saying like that style
Dominant.
of hockey,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
dominant. Yeah,
One thing that I would like to say though, I don't know if you agree with this take. Whoever scores first in Game 3 is winning that game. If the Panthers score the first goal in Game 3 in Edmonton and silence the crowd and put doubt into those Oilers' heads, I don't think they can rebound. But if the Oilers can put one in the back of the net, get the stadium going, feel good, we might see the best hockey we've seen from them in a while.
see, I think that's tough because like, dude, I had Florida -1.5. I put it on the card in Game 2. Edmonton scores first real early when Florida couldn't get any shots going. I was like,
I agree with that. Last game that wasn't the story. I think this game so much though, down 0-2. Like the belief is pretty low in Edmonton, but they keep hanging their hat on. We're at home. We'll be fine. You got to score first and get the stadium into it and get some belief in that locker room.
You take a lot of -1.5s. As soon as I have a -1.5 and my team doesn't score the first goal, I almost immediately give up on the bet. I literally was like, if they can just tie this game, I truly feel good about them taking a lead and getting an empty net and win 3-1.
Yeah.
And then I was like, when Rodriguez scored to make it 2-1 and then 3-1, I was like, this team is fucking unreal.
Yeah, they're unstoppable.
Like,
they're relentless. That's the way to describe them. The Florida Panthers are a relentless team, and they look destined for a cup, primed after getting there last year. If there's any juice in Edmonton, it's going to come out there. They haven't seen when's the last time they went to a cup? It's been a while, so maybe that will get them going. Connor McDavid, you're supposed to be the best player in the NHL. Let's show up now.
Yeah. So what do you think? If you had to make another pick, what's your pick?
Oh God.
I'm sticking with
Florida
Panthers in 5.
I could see Florida in 5, but if not, it's
I said both in 5. I didn't think either were going to be entertaining series, but this one's been entertaining.
If the Oilers sweep here at home and they even at 2-2, you think it's definitely going 7?
No, I don't think Florida won't be able to win one game in Edmonton this series. Like I think I think if it goes 6, I think they'll win in 6.
All right, that's a good point. Like they did to the Rangers almost.
Yeah, I don't think they'll not be able to win a or away game this series.
Yeah, it's very hard to bet against them. I don't see a way in which the Oilers can do it.
Like, now they're gonna
My
win what, 4
hopefulness,
out of
the best case scenario is they win in 7, they sweep at home. I think they lose in 6,
like, I just don't
5.
see this Florida team losing 4 out of 5 right now.
No, and I don't see them. This I think this game 3 is massive. It's gonna be crazy. I could see 5 or 6 for the Panthers now, but if there's any hope for the Oilers and everything goes right in Edmonton, they're going to 7 and winning it.
Oakland just made it 4-2 off an error.
That's horrible. They left Michael King in an error an inning too long. But that's a good segue into our baseball segment here
Yeah,
because you got those rankings up this week. The Padres
yeah,
are
give me
nowhere
one
near
second.
it.
I'll pull that up real quick. Yeah, as we shift over into the MLB, our power rankings for this week go Cleveland Guardians at number 5, the LA Dodgers at number 4, the Baltimore Orioles at number 3, the New York Yankees at number 2, and the Philadelphia Phillies at that number 1 spot. Pretty similar list to last week because the only thing that's switched, I believe, is Phillies and Yankees. And obviously, Yankees have been continuing to roll both those all these 5 teams just starting to kind of separate themselves from the rest of the league. But there's a couple teams kind of flirting around that 5 spot there with Cleveland, with Kansas City
Kansas
before
City's
they just
good.
went on a cold. They just went on a cold streak against the Yankees, though.
Is that a cold streak or the Yankees just good?
That's what I mean, though. But like when you're thinking about them, it's like, all right, if they're not one of the better teams in there, I don't know.
Like they
Like
didn't even
I
hang.
think they're a better
They
team
got
than Cleveland.
their can kicked in against the Yankees. They didn't even hang with them. But I think they're a
I was
better
gonna say
team than the
like
Cleveland too. They're getting some more guys off the IL soon too. Some pitchers to add to the rotation.
you just can't give them that spot right now if they don't even have the lead in their
They
division.
don't
You
even
know what I
have a
mean?
good closer. I think they yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. But I think that they need to go out, get a closer at the deadline, add at the deadline. I'd like to see the Royals add through the trade deadline. That will be important to follow. Um but yeah, you know what's crazy this year? There's a lot of teams with a low win total. A lot of guys sitting around 500. Not many really good teams, not many terrible teams. I think there's 2 in the NL and 3 in the AL that really are bad. But everybody's kind of hanging around. Like it's a crazy season. Like even my Red Sox just sitting around 500 all the time. Even you guys like right in the mix. Like you're not out of it. You're not in it. Like you're just like, what's going on?
The
Is this?
NL is so bad. We're in like a different situation than you guys, though.
Yeah, like we're in the toughest division in baseball, which doesn't help. But you guys are literally right outside the division, and then the wild card's wide open. I mean, it's like the season hasn't even
Um,
started yet with the standings, right?
the Pirates, the Reds, the Cardinals, and the Cubs are all half game apart.
Yeah, it's craziness. I'm watching. You have Skeens the way he's throwing now. That guy's unbeatable. You have Jared Jones. He's pitching well. Mitch Keller's getting back to his form. I don't like the guy that's going today, Falter. I don't know what that game's looking
Yeah, no,
like right
he's
now.
he's the bottom of the
I
rotation.
think they should bring up that guy.
They need Priester to do something, like to actually
Yeah,
do
I don't
good.
know if he's gonna
He's
be
been bad.
anything. Yeah, they have other young guys in their system. I'd like to see them call up maybe later in the summer. That guy Ashcraft I sent you, Braxton
Yeah,
Ashcraft. I think he's been dominating Double A up to Triple A now. So maybe we see him down the line. But you guys will hang around the mix. The Cubs are a good team. You got to think the Cubs added the deadline out of all teams in the MLB.
a lot of people think the Cubs are going to be sellers.
Really, who do you think they're moving on from?
I don't know. I like maybe Bellinger. I
Yeah,
don't know. They just signed him, but like
Swanson.
I also could see them go and get like a Vlad Guerrero and go get a
Yeah,
big bat.
they could go get a Josh Bell, even someone like that would be
Yeah,
massive from the Marlins. I saw him on the block. Luzardo, I know.
I'd like the Pirates to save him. Or Telez sucks,
Yeah, I mean, Bell used to be a former Pirate too. He would
dude.
fit
I'd
anywhere.
love him back in
He
Pittsburgh.
would fit anywhere, but I think he might get a big offer because power hitting first base. And the Red Sox did it last time we won the World Series. You bring in someone like that who's good but not a huge
Schwarber.
name. We did with well when we won. Steve Pierce was one of them. That was a really good one. He had that MVP.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah.
last one. That was 2013 actually. But yeah, even
Who was
Schwarber
the
we brought
18?
in. We
Did
brought
Schwarber win with you guys in 18?
Mike Napoli, I believe, or
Yeah,
was that
that's
13 as well? But like guys like that, you bring in a name like Josh Bell fits right in that category. Guys who can hit clutch hits, big bat. It'll be interesting. I want to get into that more next week, maybe a week after. Some trade targets. Who's going to be a buyer? Who's going to be a seller? But that's good. It's going to be pivotal. The Blue Jays, we don't know what they're doing still. It's a weird team.
and two of the two guys on their team or whoever everyone's talking about are the two hottest trade deadline
Yeah,
targets.
that's the thing. Did you see Kevin Biggio go from the Blue Jays to the Dodgers today? The Dodgers
Dodgers,
add again. There's going to be a lot of closers on the move too. That guy Tanner Scott from Miami, I think he's going to be dealt. Uh,
Mason Miller.
Mason, you think they deal him though because he's at an all-time high, or you think they keep him?
I don't know. I could see that. It's the Athletics. I feel like they're not worried about anything until they get to Vegas.
But he would fit in with the Vegas future. the way he's hurling and how young he is. If you
Yeah,
can keep him
true.
around, if you keep
It
around
gives
to
you
anything,
something to build around, like
yeah, I think maybe they move Brent Rooker if anything. Actually,
yeah,
older bat
yeah.
that's hitting really well.
Geloff, like
Yeah,
another first baseman
they
that
have Langlers. They have so many young guys that can hit the baseball. Andujar, sell high on him. There's a lot of guys out there, so that's going to be pivotal. Orioles, I still think the Orioles are the best team in the MLB. I know that the Phillies have the best record and they've been dominant. I don't know about you. Phillies are going to add a big bat. I know that. You know who's one that's going to be looking to be dealt. Oh, we were just talking about the other day. Imagine him. Oh, Lewis Robert Jr. from the Chicago White Sox. That's one of
yeah,
the big trade targets. Imagine he went to Philly and he was hitting back to back with Bryce Harper. Trey Turner's getting healthy now too. I mean, that team,
that would be disgusting lineup if he goes to Philly.
yeah, they'd be better lineup than the Dodgers. Maybe, probably not, but at least the closest you can get. Um,
Yeah,
I don't think the Braves try and buy. Mackey was talking about that, maybe
no.
replacing. I don't think they do. I don't know if they sell either. They just kind of hold where they're at.
I think they just wait for next year again. Like,
Yeah,
like,
they're playing with
nothing's not right
without
for them.
Acuna and Strider. You're essentially playing with house money if you can get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
So that'll be interesting to follow. But yeah, a lot of good baseball going on. Yankees, great team too. You're right with getting Cole back. That'll be massive. Dodgers getting into form. Still, Kershaw's on the way back. I don't know if you saw that. He's probably like
yeah.
2 weeks away, so that'll be cool to see. But yeah, there's a lot going on in the league. Corbin Carroll's starting to hit well for the Diamondbacks again. I wonder if they can
They're
get back
starting to
to it.
play better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been bumped back up to that one spot. So there's a lot going on here
Here
around.
we can kind of carry this on. I pulled up some of these division futures. We'll start in the American League. Some of them are more separated than others, obviously. American League East, Yankees the favorite at the -350. Orioles right there at minus or plus 200.
Love
And
that.
then obviously it's a two-man race as Red Sox and Rays and Blue Jays are all plus 20,000 on
Yeah.
MGM to win the division. But I do like the Yankees to come out and pull it out. Like I said,
How
they get
far?
Garrett Cole back.
Yeah,
I
but
don't think the
that
Orioles are
Orioles
far
team
back.
is good though. I think they're the
Yeah,
best team. That's my favorite lineup in baseball. I'll tell you that. That's my favorite lineup in baseball. And when they add a legit closer with Kimbrel too, and when they add someone else maybe at the deadline, they have a plethora of prospects they can deal too. They have Povich pitching today. I know I took the over in that Braves Orioles game, but that
I took
lineup's
that too. I like that.
yeah, that lineup's insane. Gunnar Henderson, he's off the charts. And what's crazy is he's probably going to back up Bobby Witt Jr. in the All Star game because those are the two best shortstops in the league. Love to see some new faces over here just tearing it up. But Adley Rutschman, best catcher in the MLB by far. I mean, love watching that guy hit. Switch hitter too. That's craziness. And some of the other bats starting to pull up. And then, oh wait, they have the top prospect in Jackson Holiday. I know his debut wasn't anything, but you got to think he'll turn it on whenever he's ready.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Yankees, but I think there's a nice value play there for the Orioles, but who both are going to be buyers at the trade deadline and only getting better towards the end of the season. But American League Central, Guardians -185, Royals +350, Minnesota Twins +375, Detroit +2,500, and the White Sox at +50,000.
I would take the Royals. I think the Twins are low key good too, and they can rattle off some wins. They actually have
I think
great,
the Twins have a nice lineup.
yeah, and they have great pitching staff too. Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, and a few others. Bailey Obert, he's a good one too. But I think there's great value on that Royals team. Like I said, I
They
think
still have
they
Sonny Gray.
who'd you say? Sonny Gray? No, he's on St. Louis.
That's right.
I think he's pitching right now actually.
That's what I
Um,
said.
but back to that division, I love 385 on the Royals. I think they buy at the deadline. Their lineup, they can only get better from here. They have healthy pitchers coming back. Give me them. Like that team. Cole Ragans, Bobby Witt, 385. Lock it in.
All right, we will head to the American League West. The Mariners -225,
Mm,
Astros +300, Rangers 5-1, Angels 20 plus 20,000, Athletics plus 50,000. I like Seattle here. I think
yeah,
I think they could go deep.
I'm the biggest Astros fan out of anybody, and it's crazy because I'm not even a big Astros fan, but everybody just hates them. So got to give them some respect in that aspect.
Yeah,
But I'm with you. I think it's the Mariners. They're not even playing well in their atop their division. Great staff. Wu injury kind of scares me, but they have Emerson Hancock in the minors. But they're only going to get better. I think they buy at the deadline. It's another place Lewis Robert Jr. could end up is in Seattle. Julio Rodriguez needs some help out there desperately. They're going to add someone. Maybe they get Josh Bell because their first base woes. They have their prospect Locklear up right now, playing for Ty France, who is very underwhelming. Luke Rayleigh, he's all right too, but they need another big bat, lefty bat like Josh Bell would fit. Even though Lewis Robert would be the jackpot for that team. So best is
yeah.
yet to come. -220 wouldn't take it now, but because the Astros can only get better as well. But I don't know. I think that the Mariners got this one this year.
Yeah, then most of the ones in the National League aren't as close. I think we're both on the Phillies and Dodgers to
Yeah,
win their
no
divisions.
conversation.
Yeah. And then even the NL Central, I'm not even going to sit here and argue. The Brewers minus 180 to win the NL Central.
And then what are the rest of the lines though?
Cubs plus 475, Cardinals plus 700, Reds plus 750, Pirates plus 1500.
And how far out is everybody? They're separated by a few games, right?
Pirates right now are in second place.
And how far back are they? I'm pulling it up right now.
7 games.
Yeah, that's so far. I hate that. But you want to know who I think is going to snap off? And even though I think you guys are very intriguing, I think it's still a year too early. I think that
We're not gonna win a division. We'll be lucky to be a wild card team.
Cincinnati's going to maybe buy at the deadline, and they get CES. Even though he might get season-ending surgery now, but they get McLean back in August, who's one of their best hitters, and that lineup's already
Yeah.
insane. I think if there's any team that can make a run for it, it could be them or Chicago. Great value on them too, so maybe place a half a unit on each of those. But Milwaukee's a great team, and they consistently do it, so it's hard to bet against them. They have a 7-game lead, but I think it's going to get tighter down the stretch. I think that division ends within 3 games of each other at least.
Yeah, I agree. And then last thing we got here, Caitlin Clark left off the Olympic roster. I am sick of hearing about this on ESPN. I will say that. What do you think here? Do you have any opinion on this?
That's stupid that they left her off. They're only trying to grow the game. You can't make a roster spot for
That's
her.
what Stephen A was saying. Dude, they were getting so mad at Stephen A today.
Yeah, I mean, why would you crush anything? She's good too. Like, do you think that other people would be mad? But they brought on Cameron
People were
Brink.
saying people were saying they didn't want to bring her because they didn't want to say it's for the marketing and all this shit. They said she wasn't even going to play. Who cares if she's not going to play? Like,
Yeah.
then they're like, oh, there's people that have worked their whole life for that. Yes, who gives a fuck? Life's not fair. She's the number 1 overall pick. She's the people that she's going to sell jerseys.
She was the number 1 pick.
I don't care if she doesn't play a minute. Like, this is like in 2004 when they sent LeBron to the Olympics. LeBron didn't play a lot in 04, did he?
No.
I don't remember watching that, but I don't remember.
They murdered everybody. And wouldn't USA?
Dude, the US women's team is like minus 2,000 to win gold this year.
Yeah, she's literally the number 1 draft pick. She didn't go.
How is she? Yeah, like, I don't know. Ever since that, what's her name? Kennedy Carter, whatever that
the one
situation
that fought her?
happened.
Yeah.
Oh, that chick seems like just that whole Chicago Sky team with all this attention and everything, and then they don't like it. It's just like,
but at least the other new face of the WNBA is going to be there.
By the way, Padres just tied it.
Oh, that's massive. Let's go. Come on. Padres Twins money line got Michael King. Remember I told you to take his case today, Hoff? Guess how many he hurled? 12 strikeouts.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Craziness. But yeah, like I was saying, last take on the NBA, WNBA. It is good to see Cameron Brink growing the game too. She's out and about everywhere. So she's going to be there. So that'll be fun to watch. We got the Olympics coming up. We got the NBA draft coming up. MLB All-Star Game, Home Run Derby, and the draft there. So let's get through these championships, and we'll keep going with that NFL stuff too. But looking forward to the live stream this weekend. Good Father's Day if we don't have it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for listening, and we will see you guys next week. Like we said, NBA Finals, NHL Stanley Cup Finals going right now, MLB. Make sure you're staying tuned to the social medias, getting plays out there, trying to get them out there for every game in the finals, especially trying to get some value out there. So make sure you're staying tuned, turn those post notifications on, and we'll see you for the live stream this weekend. Thanks for listening.